Hello everyone, this video is about full moon lunar eclipse that is happening on 18th of September 2024. Now that eclipse will be particularly interesting because we are entering into a new phase of life, sort of a new topic of life is getting activated because it will be happening in Pisces. My dear Pisces, you will be the heroes of this eclipse. And eclipses, let me tell you what eclipses are in astrology. Eclipses, they are very strong because they have a power of 10 full moons, not only one. That's why they also have a longer period of influencing our life, like around 6 months. So 3 months before and 3 months after of eclipse date happening. In this case, is 18th of September. So already since July, you might have been like feeling, or your life might have been changing. And I will tell you for each zodiac sign which topics, which areas of your life will be changing in the upcoming 2.5 years, let's say, because this eclipse is starting in a new pair of signs. Eclipses, they come in pair. They are always two. And it's like one door is closing, the door behind is closing, and the door in front of us is opening. So they are two doors and two eclipses, and it's always two signs that are affected, and they are always opposite to each other. Now, in this case, it's happening in Pisces, and this eclipse is, starting point for Pisces and Virgo signs to renew, let's say, their life. This is your chance to renew your life, and for the rest of us to renew life in a particular area of our life, let's say. But for Pisces and Virgo, upcoming eclipses will be total, let's say, reset in all parts of their life because it's happening in their signs, and this eclipse will start from Pisces. Next one we have in Libra on 2nd of October, but we will talk about that eclipse. That will be solar eclipse. There will be another video for that because it's totally different vibration, totally different influence. We will talk on a separate video. But let me tell you that eclipse that is happening on 2nd of October will be in Libra. This will be, the last one in Libra. And we have one more in Aries, which is upcoming next year in spring. That will be the end of, let's say, Libra Aries reset button. Life reset, sort of. You are totally new, let's say, people after those eclipses that happened for the last 2.5 years, let's say. And will be happening up until, as I said, spring. Now, this Pisces, eclipse on 18th of September is initiating next pair of signs, Virgo and Pisces, because they are opposite to each other, on our natal chart. And which area of your life is getting a total reshape, total transformation? Because eclipses, they are amazing, actually, tools of the universe, because, eclipses, they come to change our life drastically, sometimes painfully, and sometimes even, let's say, it might be more in a pleasant way. Why? Because, we as humans, we are not sort of welcoming so much changes in our lives, but nevertheless, we need them. Because, some things are so stuck in our life that we sometimes don't notice that, and but we need to eliminate people or a thing or a situation from our life, so that we move forward. And that's how eclipses actually work. They come in and they do the work for you. If you are not willing to do it yourself at the given time, because eclipses also give you time to actually deal yourself, if you are not responsive to eclipses, message and demand of the universe, then, the universe will do its job through eclipses. And it all depends on your situation. It all depends your life path. Where are you right now? Are you happy? Are you like, satisfied or maybe unsatisfied about someone or something? Now, eclipse is an amazing tool of the universe to come in a bit, let's say, clean up, and especially this one. Why this? Because it's a full moon lunar eclipse, and lunar eclipses, usually they are emotional. They are emotional, and because it's a full moon, it's about conclusion, like, cutting the ends, let's say, closing the topic, closing the situation, or eliminating, let's say, a person from your life. Like someone's role in your life journey is ending, coming to an end, and that person will not be anymore in your life, let's say, for example. Or a situation could be, or some sort of event might be happening that will put the let's say, the huge light onto your life, and you might be realizing some parts of your life, you know, that you should reshape or redo or totally, let's say, transform. Now, you know, eclipses, they are like elevators of our universe. They bring us, I don't know, to the 20th of 20th floor of our life so fast that usually it's so shocking. And, you know, usually it's we kind of have a feeling this, that our life before and our life after some period, and it might be actually this September, or you will say like, oh, 2024, second half of 2024 was life changing for me, let's say. You might say this, or you might say like, my life, let's say, turned totally different direction than I was planning, or even like was sure, you know, of going onto that direction, but all of a sudden eclipses come and a bit reroute your direction of life. And as I said, because this will be full moon lunar eclipse, something is finishing, or someone might leave, you know, they played their part in your life, and you know, this is a closing door. Now we will have opening door, which will happen at the solar eclipse on 2nd of October, but they are always two, right? There is one door closing, another one is opening. So you remember, and always, you know, have faith in the universe, because it's always for our good. Even if it's painful, even if it's you know, unwelcome changes are happening in your life, but at the end of the day, after some time, you know, passes, we usually say that, oh, that was actually the right things that were happening back then. Or now, like, you would look back and say that everything that happened actually was for good, let's say. Now, you know, between these two eclipses, we have sort of a tunnel. Like, there is a low visibility during eclipses. Better not to make any important decisions. Now, between 18th of September until 2nd of October, better not to make any important, very crucial decisions, like, you know, to get married, to, I don't know, to plan a surgery, also not welcome, because, you know, if you have opportunity to postpone those things, better to do that, because otherwise, like, if you are just like 1,000,000% sure of what you're doing, and that you want, let's say, to marry this person, or to do the operation, then only then you know, you might proceed with your plans. But of course, if it's unplanned surgery, okay, then of course we do all those things. But in case, if you like, if it's in your power to a little bit delay things, a little bit postpone things, do that, because during those, you know, 2 weeks, nothing will be so clear and visible. Plus, this eclipse exactly is happening very close to Neptune, and Neptune is the planet. First of all, of course, it's a magic. It's you know, it's a planet of you know, it's a karmic planet, but I love this planet because it's a planet of manifestation, also, you know, planet of our inspiration and imagination. But Neptune in astrology is also linked to fog. Now, whatever Neptune touches, it has this tendency to make it unclear, you know, to make it a bit confusing. You know, there is sort of nothing clear there in that situation, or about that person, or about what happened, you know, and better to wait, give some time, and exactly, you know, to go through this tunnel of eclipses. We have like this eclipse season in these 2 weeks, and better not to, as I said, make any decisions, like important decisions. Now, that is also your time to think, by the way, to think about what's going on in your life, especially with these eclipses, you know, that will be the time. And then after that, you might actually make some solid decisions. Now, as I said before, that, you know, now universe will be focusing on Pisces and Virgo signs. For those of you who have like, you know, sun, moon, or rising in these signs, then you will be, let's say, affected the most by the eclipses, upcoming eclipses, for the next, I don't know, up until 2027. I think the last one was, when I checked it, the last one eclipse happening there will be in 2027. Like, this Pisces eclipse will happen again next year around September, and again in 2026, one more time in Pisces. And also Virgo, of course, will be affected there too. 3 to 4, let's say, eclipses usually happen, and their goal is to change your life, as I said. So it's even a great if you have this attitude and a mood to receive the blessings of the universe, because universe knows better, my dears. What is there that is hindering your success? What is there that is on your way to your real self and to your self satisfaction, let's say, from life and in general. So allow universe do its job. Better if you will be on a positive mood. And I would be really happy if eclipses would be happening in my sign, because that's an opportunity. I advise you to see it as an opportunity. Now your life is getting leveled up, my dear Pisces and Virgos, because when eclipses happen in our signs, as I said, our life is just totally not the same as it was before. And it's sort of a new opportunity, new chance for you to build something new in your life if you feel already stuck there. Usually eclipses happen every 9 to 19 years, and they happen to repeat, in the same sign. Of course, there is and usually even the degree sometimes the same, which degree of the sign is falling. And the eclipse that is happening on 19 September closely resembles to the eclipse that happened on September 2016. Sorry. Now you may recall back. Let's say you might think back what happened around at that year. Let's say 2016. So was that a life-changing event there? Something sure like might be happening there. Let's say you graduated, or I don't know, you got married, you gave birth. Something very, which is like, we do once in life, because eclipses usually bring, situations exactly about that. Also, remember, please, that these are not just like some situations or events, these are like lifetime changes. These are lifetime decisions. And we usually do those, make those decisions only once in our life. And, if something so much, let's say, serious were happening, then it might be actually, you might recall back to 2016 around September, what was going on back then in your life. And also 2015 to 2016, especially for those of you who are Virgo and Pisces, my dears. Now, and also even longer back in 2006 and 7, until 7, these 2 years were, again, Pisces and Virgo eclipses happening. And you might think back to those years too. It's 19 years back. Now, 2006 and 2007. Also, and the events might be also sometimes repeating. For example, of course, nothing is similar in our universe. Nothing is identical, but something is, let's say, my topic might be same, or like area of your life might be same. Like this eclipse is the touching area of your life. Let's say, in 2006, for example, you got married, and let's say now, for one or other reasons, you are getting divorced, let's say. Or you might be, let's say, celebrating your love and making a second wedding. People do that nowadays, like celebrating your love all over again and feeling, those feelings and emotions, like from first your wedding time, let's say. You might decide to do so. Or like, if you, back in 2006 and 7, let's say you gave birth to your firstborn child, let's say, in this year, you found out that you're pregnant, for example, and again, this area of your life is getting activated by eclipses, and you might become a mother or father again. So, topics and themes of the eclipses might be similar, but nothing is, of course, identical. Now, you might just think back to those years and think what happened, and you might predict for yourself in your life what might be coming up with these eclipses into your life in the upcoming 2 years, almost until 2027. And I would like you to, again, remember a thing about eclipses. You don't get to say anything. You usually don't have power over the situations and events that will be happening. And my advice is just accept them and move on. That's the best strategy during the eclipses, actually. And because it's, at the end of the day, it's for our own good. Now, we will go sign by sign in this video for all the signs. What is this eclipse might be bringing into your life. It will be happening in 25 degrees in Pisces. Now 25 degrees, those of you especially who has like let's say sun rising or a moon there and exactly around 25 degrees will be affected the most. Everyone will be affected because if eclipse is such a huge thing, it will touch all of us. But the most, let's say life-changing things will be happening in the lives of those who has, natal planets. If not those your big three, then it might be Mars or Jupiter or Venus there at 25 degrees or plus or minus 5 degrees around that. Now, this eclipse is amazing, like particularly because we have also grand trine happening during this eclipse. Now, what is grand trine astrology? It's when, several planets making a triangle, like from the same, like let's say modes of the sign, let's say water signs or earth signs or fire signs. And in this case, we have grounding earth sign trine. Now, because this eclipse, I said, will conjunct Neptune, and Neptune is happened to be eclipse's ruler, and it's exactly very close to this eclipse. And with this eclipse, I would suggest you to a little bit wait, as I said, things to settle down to make the decision, because with Neptune, oh my god, things might go a bit blurry. Things might go foggy. So give it the time, before you make your final decision, especially for those of you who has, let's say, something related to seeing a doctor, seeing a, I don't know, specialist about your analysis, like results and all the stuff. I advise you to, consult with a second or third or even a foreign, I don't know, specialist, so that to be on the safe side, with your results and diagnosis, let's say. Now, because grand trine will be happening, grounding earth signs, which is amazing support to this eclipse. Why? Because, earth signs, they are so grounded, let's say. They are more of a like in astrology materialistic, and not in the bad sense, but in the sense that they bring this sort of feeling of material security in our life, materialistic security. Like there will be Uranus, planet of surprises, which will be situated in Taurus, a sign of money in astrology, and food also, and Pluto, planet of transformation, that will be situated in Capricorn. And Pluto, by the way, for the last moment is in Capricorn, let's say a month or so, because after that Pluto will live forever Capricorn in our lifetime. We will never see Pluto in Capricorn again in our lifetime. So, this is a last dip of Pluto because it's retrograding, moving backwards into Capricorn. But it's so right on time. I love universe, like how like a Swiss clock, it's so sharp and on time, everything happening. And you see how Pluto went back to the degree, to the point of Capricorn, to make that trine happen, in the universe, on the sky, at the time of eclipse. Now, and the third planet that will make the trine conclude will be Sun, which will be in Virgo. Now, in Virgo, it's a planet of, sign of service, a sign of help to other people. Now, Pluto in Capricorn, Capricorn is the sign of work, sign of career and hard work also. And, these three planets will make big trine. And also there will be small also, amazing beams happening. Uranus and Pluto will be sending beams to eclipse, and they will be supporting eclipse. Seems like for some of us, for some of you guys, this eclipse, usually lunar eclipse is emotional, as I said, but on the point of like materialistic, like real life point, what is happening in reality, everything will be stable. Seems like it's just for some signs. We will get to that, guys. Be patient. It might be about emotional stability. This eclipse might stir up your emotions, my dears, but all other things will be so stable because of this. Thanks to this grand trine, actually. Now, let's move sign by sign. Let's start with Aries, my dears. For you guys, it will be happening more emotional eclipse. Why? Because it's happening in your 12th house. 12th house is all about ending. It's the last house in our natal chart, in the horoscope wheel, and it's the the house where we live. Not like a living situation, but where we leave things, people, and we say goodbye to situations and some part of our life. And it's so let's say it's matching the topic of this lunar eclipse for you guys. Something is coming to an end in your life, my dear Aries, because it's a full moon, and full moon is bringing conclusion and something truly ending, and it might be coming sort of some emotional news coming up, and that's why you might get emotional around this eclipse. And some part of your life is finishing and another one is starting, is beginning. Don't forget about that, and don't let's say beat yourself up around some things or some people who are living your life, because there are new and more beautiful things will be opening up in front of you. Just give some time to your own emotions, to yourself, and to universe to deliver at the right time on the right place a new new story of your life, let's say new chapter of your life. And for some Aries, it's also 12th house is all about secrets, and here, because it's a full moon, and full moons, they are like a big sort of big bulb of light. They might put some light into some situation that you haven't known, let's say, and it was a secret, let's say, and either it's your secret or someone else's, and this eclipse is opening wide that secret to everyone and to you especially, because you will that secret might be directly linked to you, and something is opening up here during lunar eclipse, my dears. Now the most important thing here is to let go, to let go, because eclipse is telling you directly, my dear Aries, to let go of things and people. Don't be clingy. Try to look at the situation that it's actually for better. Now, and because, this grand trine is happening in those houses, in your second house of money, in your house of work, and some service, it might be that this eclipse might be bringing also some sort of news around your work and how you earn money. It might be related to that too. And it seems like whatever the work is, that it might be related to something foreign, because little Jupiter will be making a bit of a hiccup during this eclipse, because it will be sending not friendly beams to the eclipse. But for you guys to understand, the main aspect is that grand trine, which is amazing, easy flowing, productive aspect, let's say. But here Jupiter comes in and somehow is not happy with that eclipse, and it might be sort of both ways. You might get at the same time unpleasant news, but at the same time you will be feeling that on the other hand, in your real life situation, everything is going well, like with your work, with like you have a stable, let's say, job and income source and all the stuff, and even you can do more. These kind of things might be happening. Now, 12th house is also house of surgeries. Now here, if there is unplanned things going on, of course we do, that's the law of universe. But if there is a planned surgery that you, let's say, planning to do, then better to postpone, my dear Aries. Better to delay it and maybe double check or even triple check your results of analysis, or consult with another specialist, these kind of things. Better to really have as much more advice as possible there. Now, 12th house is also a house where we are like privately working, where we want to hide from the whole world and sit and work at home or do something like, which requires solitude, alone time, and some meticulous work, like sitting long and doing something maybe at night, maybe behind the doors, alone, the most important thing here. And it seems like this eclipse might be setting some sort of service, or you might be working on some sort of a project that it might take you 2 years to finish. As I said, this eclipse is the beginning of activation of this part of your life. Seems like you might be doing something behind everyone. What I mean is like, behind the closed doors, like not telling like anyone what kind of project you're doing, like something you are creating there, alone sort of thing might be happening. Or in some cases, it might be the end of what you've been doing, let's say. If you've been doing that already since long times, then this eclipse comes in and puts an end to that. And you might be showing to the world your work, actually. It depends on your situation, right, my dear Aries? Now, also, 12th house is the house of, restricted areas, like hotels, for example, or where we can be stuck, like hospitals, or even prison, some sort of islands, where there is like a limited movement, let's say area of movement. And it seems like here that thing, it might come to an end. Let's say if you've been long at the hospital or in prison, this might be the time when you get released, for example. Or vice versa, for upcoming 2 years you might be restricted somehow in your area of movement. It might be a, let's say, house arrest or something, something might be going on that will restrict also somehow your ability to move around. Also, 12th house is the house when we rest, when we want and crave to be private, near nature, near water, to going to some retreats maybe, and far lands also. It might be the time when you will for 2 years, like you might be actually initiating time for yourself. And because 12th house is a subconscious mind house, it's subconsciously universe is telling you to pay attention to your inner self, to your inner child, to your traumas also, to heal. 12th house is also healing house. Seems like to go back to your true self, and next 2 years you might be working on that, like on a spiritual path. For example, you might get interested into those like therapy, psychotherapies, or hypnosis, or whatever is that, like actually whatever therapy is there available for you and you can find and you get interested. You might be busy, this eclipse might be bringing this sort of period of your life and activating, where you will dig into yourself and sort of try to heal. Now 12th house is also house of loss and releasing something, as I said, and this will be the good time next 2 years to, if you have some addictions, for example, like smoking or drugs or whatever is that, like addiction, and even like a coffee addiction or whatever is that, screen addiction, nowadays. And then for the next 2 years, it might be amazing and great time that you will release that addiction. You will get rid of that, whatever there that you want to get rid of. This will be the amazing time next 2 years to do so, and the universe seems like will be helping you even more to lose some things and even lose weight, if that's your goal too. This will be amazing decisions if you make that. Now let's move to our dear Taurus. Taurus, for you guys, it will be 11th house of future, house of our hopes and dreams, and also house of our friendships. Now here, lunar eclipse is happening, and as I said, it's a release. It might be 1 or 2 friends are, let's say, ending their story in your life. For example, not necessarily in a painful way. It might be that your friend got married and moving to another country or a city, or they decided with family to move somewhere far, and now you will have, let's say, limited sort of interaction. Of course, it's always possible to stay in contact, but we all know, that in most cases, in the beginning, like initial period, of course it's manageable, but at a later stage it's anyhow sort of farewell, because you might be saying goodbye to some sort of friends. Your friendship circle totally is changing also in some cases, my dear Tauruses. Seems like it might be you moving somewhere and you totally changing your social circle, like who you are socializing. Your friend circle is changing. You might be signing up to some clubs or some social groups, like tennis group, or I don't know, squash or football, and or reading, I don't know, book club, and it might be that you will find the new friends there. Totally changing. Universe is changing your friendship circle, who you communicate with, because 11th house is the house of our bigger social circle, and also 11th house, because it's a full moon happening, something is finishing and something will be opening up in your life. So you remember that. And for some Tauruses, it might be about wishes and dreams. 11th house is that vision board that we put into ourselves for our future, about our future, how we see it. And it seems like something is totally, completely destroying there. Like 1 or 2 of your dreams are changing, like shifting. You might be, let's say, initially you wanted to become a doctor, but now you, let's say, decided to totally do art, for example. And it might be that sort of drastic change because it's an eclipse. But, and Neptune here, because it's a magic planet that is conjunct this eclipse, will help you to magically realize what sort of future you want for yourself, It might give you a little bit of a magical power to set the right steps for your dreamed and desired future. Now, during this eclipse, Grand Trine is happening in Uranus from Taurus will be sending like one part of the Grand Trine. It seems like, some surprises are due for your like dreams about your friends, about your future. It might be positive, very positive and long-term surprises because it's a Earth sort of trine, and it's something grounded, something long-term, and something that we can see and touch and smell, something materialistic, let's say. And it might be your sort of one this kind of dream coming true. It's an amazing eclipse, having in 11th house. Universe is set to deliver your dreams in upcoming 2 years, my dear Taurus. But, be ready to release some other things, so that those big new things have space to come into your life. That's what you should remember. And even new friends. Now, and for you guys, popularity might be, matter of months. You might become popular with this eclipses upcoming in your 11th house. If that was your wish, then universe also has the power to deliver that. And of course, with the popularity together, money and authority and a long-term work sort of service to the bigger society, let's say. Now, and it's also 11th house is the house when you gather the results of from the job done before, and it seems like you will be recognized. You might get actually recognition for all the work that you've done, and you might be granted your wishes. But be careful sort of here at 11 eclipses, in 11th house, because as I said, there will be little Jupiter who will be disagreeing with this eclipse from your 2nd house of money. And it seems like for some Tauruses, for those who are not flexible, let's say, it might be that there might be sort of a money issue, and that money, it might be related to family budget or sort of money from the government or whatever help, like financial help that you're receiving, like your spouse, let's say, your family budget or something like, or if you're in a divorce process, again, the alimony might be an issue. Or the division, the real estate division also might be an issue there too. Now, my dear Geminis, for you guys, it's a 10th house of career, house of social status. This is the highest house in our chart. It's an amazing one because we are visible there. We aspire to be there, like to who we want to be, and also 10th house is people who we respect. And it's happening exactly in your 10th house. Seems like, my dear Geminis, you're completely changing your career in upcoming 2 years. Some of you might be realizing that you totally want to do something different than you've been doing like for the last, let's say, a couple of years. And also, like as I said, Jupiter will be a little bit in disagreement with this eclipse. There might be, the starting point might be some sort of inner tension there. Inner tension of who you are, let's say, what you want to be and what you want to do with the rest of your life, let's say, and how you want to let's say, release your energy in a more positive and a more productive way. And 10th house, because it's a career house, many of you guys might be changing your career, like finishing one sort of career that you've dedicated, let's say, 10 to 20 years, and starting different, totally new one. And also, it might be because of your spouse too, like your business partner too. Let's say you've got, let's say, married, or you are married, but at the same time, let's say your husband or wife got a new job somewhere else, like on another part of the world. And because you're moving, your career is finishing. As an example, my dear Geminis, it might be the case that you are sort of closing one chapter of your life, like a career chapter, and opening another one. And it will be happening during the next 2 years, when all these eclipses will be falling into your 10th house, my dear Geminis. And some of you might get recognized actually for your hard work and dedication, because 10th house is the house, the highest house. It's our title, also our influence, reputation. Some of you guys might get quite influential and with the higher status, with quite a lot of achievements and prizes, nominations coming in the next 2 years. 1 or 2 titles might be adding up to your current position. Let's say you might be changing position at work to a more higher one, climbing the career ladder. And for some of you, it might be vice versa, falling down from your reputation also. It depends on your situation, And for another Geminis, it might be totally about their father, or your manager. you might be quite invested, like quite involved into the life of your father or your boss, like sort of manager. Because 10th house rules our father, and it might be that for the next 2 years something might be going on in their life, like in our father's life, and you might be busy there, maybe taking care of them, maybe supporting them somehow, financially, emotionally, or maybe moving in together. Something's going on there, for you guys. Now, my dear lovely Cancers, and for you guys, it's a ninth house. Now, ninth house is all about foreign lands. Now, this is amazing because eclipse is happening in the house of, Jupiter, but Jupiter somehow doesn't like that eclipse, sort of. It's particular this one from your 12th house, but it rules your work, Jupiter. And it seems like you might be actually finishing your job in an upcoming month or within this eclipse period, like plus or minus 2 months. And it seems like that job was somewhere in abroad. The headquarters might be abroad, even if it's like you are working in your town, let's say. And it might be you are closing your business or just quitting your job, or like, let's say, saying goodbye to your current company. It might be the case too, because it's a full moon, something is ending there. But you might think back, as I said, to what happened in 2016, 2006, as a Cancer, because it's happening in the ninth house, is the house of education, house of higher mind. In 2016 I actually started my master's degree. That was the time, 2 years period, when I've been applying and I got a scholarship, and that was amazing time actually. And now it's happening again in my ninth house. And for my dear Cancers, it might be the same. You might be, for example, graduating, if that was the time you entered the university. Or now, for those of you who wish to study, this will be the time. Next 2 years you might be studying. And let me tell you that Grand Trine will be in Earth signs and giving you that security that you desire, materialistic security. It might be you will receive the scholarship, for example. And also, ninth house is the house of immigration. You might immigrate again in the upcoming 2 years, my dear Cancers. Some other country. You might be traveling quite a lot, for example. And it's all things related documents. You might be in the next 2 years getting a citizenship of another country, if that was your wish. You might be quite busy in the next 2 years acquiring a passport, for example, of another country, or a residence permit, all things related to this, foreign affairs, like these documents. And also about legal case. If you're involved, this eclipse might bring sort of a news around that legal case. And, those of you also who wish to be a teacher or a mentor, because ninth house is the house where we teach or where we learn. And either of two, like you will start learning something, or it might be you will become a teacher and mentor for many people, for broad audience, sort of. Like spreading your wisdom, sort of. And ninth house is the house of search for meaning of life, and this eclipse is initiating sort of the process where you will be searching where is your place in this on this earth, let's say. What is your life meaning, sort of things. You might be quite invested into beliefs like this mentality, or even religion. You might change your religion in upcoming 2 years, my dear Cancers. And of course, here, for those of you who are, let's say, avid writers, publishing will be lucrative here. Now, in upcoming 2 years, you might publish a book or article, or your research finally might see the light and reach the broad audience. And that will be quite successful, let me tell you, because, eclipse is now falling in a water sign as you. And it might be very beneficial in this term. Let's talk about Leos. My dear Leos, for you guys, it might be all about finances. Now, it seems like, and those finances related to with whom you share, those finances. Not the ones that you earn, but the ones that you share with someone. For example, with your husband, like family budget, or with your wife. Or if you're in divorce process, then it might be about division of real estate and this property division, or division, let's say, alimony for your kids, like common kids. It might be happening. And Jupiter will be making a little bit bump there, as I mentioned, and to this eclipse will be sending unfriendly beam from your wish house, which is ruling your house of kids. Seems like for some of you this will be the magical time to get pregnant, and for some of you this will be the time when you will have sort of some issue around your kids and the money that is related to those kids, For example, if you have them. And those of you who are trying to conceive, especially trying this in vitro, non-traditional methods, Neptune here, very close to that eclipse, can work miracles. Can, your wish, it can make your wish come true. And I would suggest you to try here, because Neptune is the planet of magic, all things that we can't explain. And if that wish is so dear to your heart, Neptune might work favor for you, my dear Leos, and it might give you that dream of becoming a mother or a father. So work around that, because 8th house is also house of conception. Now, 8th house is house of, as I said, money, and here are like investments also here. And it seems like your investments will be even like prosperous, because of this grand trine in earth houses that is happening during eclipse. And that grand trine will be happening in the money house, in the house of work and career. Seems like whatever you will be investing into might give results. And for the next 2 years, you will be busy actually investing into maybe your skills, maybe like to be better, to have a better job, let's say. And it might be that you will receive a new job or a couple of promotions at your current job in the next 2 years, and especially beginning from this 18th of September eclipse, my dear Leos. Now, 8th house is also, a house of health, healing. And here, I would again suggest you to consult as many doctors and specialists as possible to be on the safe side, because with Neptune, it's a bit of foggy planet, makes it confusing. Whatever results you are receiving from your doctor, back from your analysis, try to find some other specialist too, just to receive second or even third opinion. And this 8th house, because it's a hell house, better to postpone all planned surgeries. Better to really, if you have that power, to delay a bit those things. But anyhow, no worries. Magic is working here. And whatever, if it's like unplanned surgeries are happening, no worries that, because you might be, let's say, miraculously or magically saved. And 8th house is a house of secrets also. And 1 or 2 of your secrets or someone else's secrets might be known to the public now. So take extra care here, because full moons are like a big bulb of light. It might bring to life sort of old secrets that you were hiding or someone else was hiding from you. And here is also, because it's a financial house, it might be related to scholarships, funding, and also loans from the bank. And here it might be that the time you will take a loan, and just so you know that loan will not be, it might take you as long as 2 years to close that loan or something, to get approved. In some cases, it might take you 2 years to get approved so that you finally receive that money. But at the end of the day, I see that you're going to receive the money, because there is a grand trine happening, earth grand trine, as I said. My dear Virgos, for you guys, you are the heroes, of this eclipse too, because you will be the next pair of signs, together with Pisces, who will receive eclipses for the next 2 years, and your life is getting upgraded. Congratulations on that. And for you guys, this eclipse is falling on your 7th house, and upcoming, like in the next 2 years, all the eclipses will be falling in your 7th house, most of them. And 7th house is such an important house. It's all other people's house. Now, 1st house is me, right? It's you. But 7 is the house of spouse. It's the marriage house. It's the house of committed relationships, either in business, either in marriage, in love, let's say. So it's sort of a contractual agreement house where we sign agreements, And also 7th house is our competitors, our opponents, our enemies that we know face to face. They are getting activated for the next 2 years. Take good care about your reputation here. And, in general, like 7th house is also how other people treat you sort of house, relationship with other people, and also big corporations, like all those companies. Now, because it's a full moon, something is sort of coming to an end in your life. It might be a divorce, for example, that you will be taking such a decision, but let's say, doubt so. It might be sort of a bit of a friction there happening, but not necessarily divorce, because Grand Trine will be the saving force there in your chart, my dear Virgos, because it seems like Grand Trine will be happening in your true love house and also foreigner's house. It seems like whoever you are involved with might be a foreigner, and even if it's not, then this grand trine have the power to save your love. And little Jupiter, who is actually messing up everything here with eclipse, who is sending unfriendly beams to that eclipse, rules your fourth house, and it will be situated in your, again, social status house. And it seems like whatever topic there might be coming up between you and your sweetheart, it's better to talk after 2nd of October, like in the second half of October. Try to postpone it, or try to, let's say, talk calmly and not on emotions, because lunar eclipse is emotional. And better to bite your tongue this time so to keep the relationship going. And Sun will be in Virgo, in your sign, my dears, and Sun will be supporting you together with all other heavy karmic planets, Pluto and Uranus. And it seems like from the point of your faith and believe in true love, the universe is supporting you and trying to give you chances to move forward. If that's your wish, to keep the relationship, your marriage, to save the relationship, then try to work hard around these eclipses. They will be in the next 2 years testing your marriage and business relationships, testing your in general relationships with other people, who will stay and who will not, in your life, and who you will give chance. And of course, eclipses will give you the time to think, but of course short time. But it's all up to you, my dear Virgos, if you are willing to work on your relationships, or if it's enough and this is an end. Now, also 7th house, because it's a marriage house, around this eclipse, some of you might be proposing or actually getting married. And if you are getting married, make sure that you are, let's say, 1,000,000% sure, because, decisions around eclipses are very hard to change, and it will be very hard to get out of those relationships afterwards, after you got married, let's say. And better to be sure, not 100%, but 1,000,000% that you are making the right decision, and that you're saying yes to the right person. And this eclipse, it's up to your situation, right? Might be getting married, might be divorced, or might be proposing. Something happening there in your marriage house, my dear Virgos. And even those who are married also will feel, especially for those of you guys. And it might be, if you're already in a divorce process, it might be about property division too. And it might actually take as long as 2 years to finally sort out things between you and your soon-to-be ex-wife, let's say, or ex-husband. If it's not about love, it might be about business, because it's a business partnership house and contractual agreements. Make sure, next 2 years will be crucial, which kind of contractual agreements, business agreements you're going to make. And this particular one seems like will give you a solid foundation and money if you are signing a paper here, my dear Virgos. Seems like that you will have a faith and sort of joy of whatever contract you will be signing around this eclipse on 18th of September. And if you do so, universe is supporting you financially, materialistic point of view, work-wise, money-wise, it's supporting you. And whatever contract will be that, go ahead and sign it. But always take good care of your competitors and opponents, because they will try to sort of mess up with your reputation and influence there. And now, 7th house is a business partners, and also for the next 2 years, make sure with whom you are entering into business partnership also, my dear Virgos. Libras, my beautiful Libras, you will have eclipses in your 6th house upcoming 2 years. Now this one will happen in your 6th house on 18th of September. Now 6th house is all about work, all about service to others, all about our daily activities, what we do daily, our routine, our schedule. And it seems like in the next 2 years, everything changing. How you are approaching your daily life. From morning until evening, what do you do? It might be changing. For example, your work decided, let's say, there is a need in a night shift, and you might be switching to night shift, and it might be actually as long as 2 years. It's not healthy, so but something changing. Or if you've been doing night shift job, now you will be switching to the day shift, let's say. Or if you've been working from office, now you will be going home and working from home or remote. You are becoming remote employee, for example, or vice versa. If you've been whole life remote employee, now you are going daily to work and your routine is changing, right? You're trying to waking up early, getting hopping on transport, public transport or your car, and trying to reach your work on time, for example. Some of you, because let's say you're pregnant and you are soon to be a mom, now you are on a going to maternity leave or paternity leave, for example, and it will last as long as 2 years, seems like. Or vice versa, if you've recently, like, let's say you've already a mommy of a 2-year-old or a year old, this will be the time when you will try, or this will be the time actually that you will go back to corporate life, and you will be out of your home. You won't be sitting on your maternity leave, coming out from that actually. Something, your routine is changing here. Eclipse is coming, like putting end to some sort of your schedule, your regime thing. For example, also it might be about sport and health. Sixth house is all about sport. You might decide to hit the gym, for example, and it might stick with you. And you might be consistent around that next 2 years, because there is a ground trine which is giving us this grounding force, like earth force, to do the things meticulously and persistently, let's say, daily. And you might take up sport very serious, for example. And some of you, it might be related to your health. And this full moon, because it's a finish, or also putting some light, it might be actually universe will be telling you some information around your well-being. And next 2 years will be decisive one, how you will approach that issue with your health, for example, if there is so, or vice versa. If you've been struggling with some disease or something there, this might come to an end. You might finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. And this eclipse is bringing sort of the last sort of conclusions there. But again, if it's health-wise, consult as many specialists as possible, my dear Libras, because there is a Neptune together conjunct with eclipse, which is a bit confusing. All the analysis, all the diagnosis, try to get a second or even third opinion, from specialists. This will be the best what you can do around these eclipses. Now, also, some of you might get a simply pet, because sixth house is pets, for example. If you've been wishing and dreaming to have a dog or a cat or any other, friend, little friend, then this will be the time you will get one. You will sort of start, your regime will be changing, right? To have pet is also like, it influences your life and changes sort of your schedule. And sixth house is the house in general taking responsibilities, and solving problems. Seems like some responsibilities will be coming into your life for the next 2 years. And those responsibilities will be sort of heavy, sort of kind of obligations even. And these eclipses will teach you in the next 2 years how to approach your problems, how to solve your problems, because all these eclipses will be happening exactly in that area of your life. You might become very independent at the end of this eclipse season, this pair, and you might be professional on how you're approaching, let's say, life problems. My dear Scorpios, my mysterious Scorpios, for you guys it will be true love house, 5th house. Now here, it seems like you are meeting someone special. Some of you guys, next 2 years, you might meet someone very special and who will stay for a long term in your life, who might even become your life partner. And for some of you, it might be the end of story, because 5th house is the house of love and romance, but we have a full moon, which is ending things. And if there was already something not quite right, that you had like situations, if you've been thinking about going separate, or not even like thinking, but there are problems even. And sometimes, eclipses can hit those relationships. The people think that, everything is perfect, everything was going into a perfect way, amazing way. Why is so like we are going to parting ways, or like we are going separate? Because we sometimes, because it's 5th house, it's a love house, flirting house, we might be blind, like let's say, and it might be that we are not noticing what's going wrong actually, and universe comes in and actually wakes you up. It sobers you up to the point that you of course at the first you might be shocked, why is this result? But after a couple of years you might look back and understand that actually that relationship wasn't, let's say, fated to work out, and it was the right decision. That was not my person. It seems really hard to listen now, for example, and if it's happening in your life, but believe me, that's how universe works and eclipses work. And it meant to end actually, and it meant to teach you something. And always remember, this one is a closing door eclipse. We have ahead of us opening door eclipse, some new opportunities coming, and be sure that universe will be fair to each of us. And some of you guys might be actually finishing the relationship, as I said, or knowing some sort of information about your partner, because it's a full moon. It's putting some sort of a big light into a situation around your partner that you've been not knowing, let's say. Now, for those of you who say like I'm happily married and it's not about me, or who say I'm single and it's not about me, then it might be about business. And especially for you guys who are business owners, it might be the time you will be saying goodbye to your business because, let's say, of financial sort of strains. Um, you know, but because this grand trine is happening, seems like your business partners will be supportive. They might be very supportive because they will have the same situation as you. Seems like if it's not the same situation, that they will be very empathic, let's say. They will be giving you supportive words, let's say, and even will try to, let's say, save you, but at the same time save your business. But at the same time, it seems like this business is coming to an end because of financial situation, because of money sort of, or funding there, or profits going on something wrong. It might be the case, and some of you, this eclipse might be the point where you actually take up the opportunity to open business. You might come to realize that next in your life, what you want to do is build your own, let's say, work, your own something that you own. It might be a restaurant or sort of small business, and you might get busy in the next 2 years while eclipses will be falling into this area of your life. Now, it's also, fifth house is also about our hobbies, our talents, creativity, like our creative side. And especially those of you who are like singers and dancers, my dear Scorpio, seems like this eclipses will be next 2 years, actually, that will be falling in this area of your life will be most crucial. Some of you might raise to fame, and some of you might decide this is not what you want to do whole life. This kind of situation might happen, like to the point like of finding an agent who will promote you, or actually stopping the relationship with your agent, for example. And also, fifth house is a love triangle house. Seems like this full moon might bring up that, let's say, person. And better to be on a safe side and to be honest always, my dear Scorpios, because this eclipse has the power to put an end to that sort of third relationship there. Third wheel, let's say. And in general, because this is a fifth house, is a house of joy, is a house of love for yourself and for your life. Seems like next 2 years will be the crucial ones that will help you to understand and to differently be joyful about your way of life, and in general about life, and about yourself. These eclipses will help you to look at yourself differently, my dear Scorpios. Now, Sagittarius, for you guys, it will be house of home. Now, house of home, house of family. And it seems like, because it's a finishing eclipse, it's bringing some sort of conclusion. There might be a situation going on at your home, in your family, that will come to an end. That will, it might be a relationship, for example, between you and some family member, and this eclipse might bring a situation that you will stop talking to that family member, or totally stop the relationship, and it will be even ongoing situation up until for 2 years. I advise you not to make any rush decision and emotional decisions, because eclipses are emotional, and better not to make any emotional final decisions. Wait, give universe time, give other people in person time in your family to cool down and to try to, understand each other. But the thing is here, like, because it's a grand trine happening, the positive thing is happening in earth signs. It seems like there will be a grounding force there. There will be sort of a help from universe for you, my dear Sag, and it will come in the form of, like, let's say, sort of financial matter or a work. You might actually find a new job, for example, around this eclipse and sign the contract. You might be in negotiation sort of phase with your new employee, for example. And for some of you, it might be the time when you will actually leave your home, because fourth house is the house of home, is where we are based, where we live. And it seems like you will be moving, like completely, maybe immigrating some other country or some other place or another house or a city, like changing. And it might be you who will be leaving the family, because it's a, full moon. someone might be going out, like exiting your family. For example, if your brother or sister getting divorced, for example, or someone like going to studies, like your little brother or sister, for example, as an example, it might be that someone entered the university and they are moving some other country, and because of that your family member, let's say, is less now in numbers who are living there. And this is as an example. And for some of you guys, it might be the situation about real estate. If that was a concern there, it seems like you will sell your real estate, or for some of you it might be actually finally buying it. If you've been working hard and if you had this wish and you've already chosen an apartment or a real estate, like a house, then this will be the time this eclipse will bring to you the contract, of purchase of this real estate. For example, in some cases it might be like selling. If there was a problem around your real estate, then you might actually sell that real estate, and it seems like universe will help you to do that. Or sort of renovation. If you're gonna start renovation of your house, it might actually last until 2026, so that my dear Sag. Now, fourth house is also house of mother. For some of you it might be totally your mother situation, like something you might be quite involved with your mother's life. It might be she's moving back together, like with you, for example, and you will be living for the next 2 years with your mother. This is as an example. Or something's going on in her life and that will be affecting you directly. And it might be that in general, like parents' life will come forth during this eclipse, and you might know some information about your parents around 18th of September, my dear Sag. Now, Capricorns, for you guys, it's a contractual house. It's a house of communication. It's a house of commerce. It's a house of trade. And here, my dear Capricorns, because this grand trine is also happening from your sign, Pluto will be on your side, greatly supporting you, my dear Capricorns. Everything in your life seems like will be grounded at this point, because it's a earth energy. It's a, how is it earth? Like it's very dry, but at the same time it gives us food, it gives us a basis, right? So your like sort of understanding seems like will be to the point that you will have a faith in your life, and you will be enjoying actually your life and yourself and your decisions that you're gonna make during these eclipses. And universe will be giving you this sort of sense of security in yourself and in the love for your life, actually. This eclipse, because it's an ending, it might be that you are ending sort of a contract. And because Jupiter will be unfriendly to that eclipse from the work house, it might be related to your work. You might finish your contract there. You might quit your job, or vice versa. You might seal the deal. Some of you guys, it might be the time when you will decide to take up another position or work from in a different country, even, because Jupiter rules your house of far lands. And in some cases it might be remote job, for example, because 12th house that Jupiter rules is a house of isolation, and it seems like it might be a remote job, and now you are becoming a remote employee, for example, and you're changing your position, or totally accepting a new job in a different land and moving there. This is like some cases, my dear Capricorns. And in some cases, as I said, you might be actually quitting your job, finishing the contract, and you might be actually happy with your decision around here. And also, third house is our siblings' house. It's our cousins, relatives, and neighbors. Maybe their life will come forth in the next 2 years into your life. You might be busy with your sibling. For example, they are getting married, they are giving birth, and you will be directly participating and involved into their lives. And there might be big changes happening in their lives, for example. And if you like, you might be also on a direction to upgrade your skill, like to learn new things. And it seems like you will take up some courses, and those courses, like you will be sort of trying new things, because you will have a courage. These eclipses will set on a journey to teach you to be courageous, to be brave in the next 2 years. Your perception of how you approach things to be done in your life will be changing, my dear Capricorns. You are not the cowards, of course, of the zodiac, my dear Capricorns, but this one, because it's happening in your third house, and third house is the house of courage. It's the house of new beginnings. It's the house of our bravery. It will teach you how to tackle things in a brave way, let's say. And it will start, you might be learning, like starting new skills. So to be let's say, on the level with the current market demand, for example, in your career, because you're a career driven sign, my dear Capricorns. And some of you might be, like, in the upcoming 2 years traveling quite a lot, sort of short distance travel. This area of your short distance travel is activated. And in general, third house is the house of our inner circle, with whom we communicate daily and mostly, and it seems like it's changing. Eclipse is setting up for you new friends, new social circle sort of thing, and those people who you talk day to day. Now, it's also a house of transportation, any transportation. You might be actually buying a car in the upcoming 2 years, or actually selling, or you will be, on a journey to learn how to drive a car. You might start doing, like, going to courses around September of this eclipse, and in the upcoming 2 years, acquiring your driving license and buying for yourself a car, like totally changing your transportation mode, or actually vice versa. You will tell yourself that, let's say, you don't want any more a car because now it's becoming a liability for you, for example, and you will start using public transports. For some Capricorns, it might be languages. You might learn new language. For example, if you've moved somewhere, especially seems like relocated, then it might be that you will start speaking a different language, like learning a different language, because your circle is changing here in the upcoming 2 years, my dear Capricorns. Now, Aquarius is, for you guys, it's a financial house. It's a earning money house. It's a second house. Now, this is perfect one because we also have a grand trine in earth signs, and it seems like more money coming into your life. Because Grand Trine, your ruler, Uranus, is in the money house in astrology, in Taurus. And, Pluto is in the career house. And it seems like whatever money you will be earning during this eclipse will be useful, let's say, in the long run to you. And it will be through hard work that you earn that money. And, in general, like, in terms of spiritual growth, this eclipses that is upcoming in the lasting next 2 years will change your total self-esteem, self-worth, because second house is exactly that. How you value yourself. What is your self-value, let's say self-worth, and that's directly linked to our abilities to earn money, my dear Aquariuses. And it seems like for some of you, it might be booming. And for some of you, it might be the time when you will be transforming, on a transformational journey. Because Pluto, by the end of this year, will move into your sign for the next 20 years. That is set on a journey to completely transform you. My dear Aquariuses. And it seems like along the way, these eclipses initiate the transformation, starting from your self-acceptance, self-worth, how you earn money, your earning abilities and skills, and your resources of income. This eclipse might be actually closing some sort of resources of your income, and this will be the fruit to think, the beginning point for you to think actually what you're worth, like what is your worth, how you earn money. If you lost, for example, right now, around this September eclipse, one source of income, for example, and it seems like for some of you, it truly will be the time when you will quit your job, or will be the time actually you will find another source of income, which will, initiate this sort of a feeling that you worth more. And it will make you look at yourself differently from a more, let's say, a higher perspective, and like you sort of have wings behind you, It might be that and this, depends on your situation. And of course, through this grand trine, your family will be supportive, very supportive of you and your decisions, and your intuitions will be sharp as knife, my dear Aquariuses. Now, Jupiter will be a little hiccup there, because Jupiter will not like that eclipse from your house of children and from your house of joy. Whatever will be happening there, it will be emotional eclipse. So don't let emotions rule your, let's say, decisions. That will be the important one, and that will influence your future, because Jupiter rules your future house. And it seems like whatever will be happening there related to, for example, children, or how you enjoy life yourself, and how you view yourself, try to approach it from a calm point of view, try to calm down your emotions and let universe do the job, and give as much as possible time to universe and yourself to and don't beat yourself up about around your money and resources and how you earn money. It will come, it all come together, and in the next 2 years it will transform your life completely. How you approach your money, my dear Aquarius. Now, also, second house is a house of material possessions, like expensive possessions, like properties, car, whatever is there. And it seems like for some Aquariuses, this eclipse might be the time when you will sell one or two things there, or you will get rid of through, I don't know, inheritance, for example. It might be that you will, for example, sell your car or a house or a parent's, I don't know, apartment. Something might be going on there. And for some of you guys, it might be about your life value, like priorities. Your priorities totally is changing. Like up until this point of your life, it might be that your friends going out, like external life was important for you and you were putting a value there. But now something might be going on there because of these eclipses, and your value will switch into your family, for example, and it might come to the first place in your life, and you will look at life priorities totally like differently in the upcoming 2 years. And my dear Pisces, you are the heroes of this eclipse. Now, my lovely Pisces, eclipse is happening at your 25 degrees in your sign. Those of you who are born around, this 25 degrees of the Pisces, so meaning like last days of Pisces season, will be affected the most around this eclipse. And that is to say, like last days of almost March, let's say, before 20th, right? So this one will be the first one out of 3 eclipses that will be happening consecutively, let's say next year and then the year after, and it will change your life completely. This is an opportunity for you guys. This is a time when you will change yourself, because it's happening in your first house. Some parts of yourself you are getting rid of. Some parts of yourself not anymore, like, let's say, working for you, and you will have to get rid of them. You will have to leave them and leave behind. New self is at the birthplace there and right now, and because it's happening in your first house around this September, something might be going on in your life that will change your for example, surname and name, because this is the first house, how people call us. Maybe your nickname, you might get a nickname, or for example, you're opening a business and you're coming up with a name for yourself, for your business, through which you will be associated now, for example, from now on. And in some cases it might be your appearance, how you look, like hairstyle, body weight. Also, this will be amazing time to tell yourself and change your appearance. But of course, don't do it immediately around these eclipses. Wait and think deeply which kind of like a style you want to acquire now, and after, like step by step, after 2nd of October, implement those changes, but not right around these eclipses. It's not advisable, because then you might actually not like it and you might have a crisis there. Now, also, first house is your core, my dear Pisces, like what you show to the world, and what you think of yourself actually is changing. Your wishes, your plans and priorities. For example, your plan was to, I don't know, to get married, to have family, have babies, and that was your like biggest, let's say, plan for your life, as an example. In some cases it might be the biggest plan to become a top 10 millionaires, for example. But now these eclipses are coming, and in the next 2 years they will be totally changing your plans, like switching. I advise you to write down what is your biggest dream right now, and what is your plans and priorities right now for your life, and then look back after 2 years, like to say the precise in 2026. Look back to what you've written down now, for example, and you will see how your priorities and plans has changed. What was the change there? Eclipses are that dramatic, they are emotional. They bring up sort of big changes in life. It's not about just like some events or situations. It's about life changes that we do once in a life, and it seems like it will be exactly that. It might be that in the next, and eclipse is happening in your sign. It might touch not only your first house, it will touch all your 12 houses. And it seems like whatever area of your life that you want to change, it will be easy to change because the universe will be supporting that. For example, you might be getting married, you might be giving birth, or moving some other country, or changing something about your career, or starting a career, or quitting, or starting a business. It might be anything. And it depends on your life priorities. Depends on what you plan for your life, my dear Pisces. And this is like totally switching. Your old self will be dying, and sort of new identities coming out there. And this is amazing to do. Amazing period is coming into your life. This is a period of opportunities, how I call it. Now, this was a full moon lunar eclipse, a horoscope for all signs, my dears, that is happening on 18th September. And as I said, after, eclipses come in pairs, as a closed door and open door. This one is a closing door. And so you remember, ahead of us there is opening door happening. Always remember, whatever will be happening in your life around these eclipses, there are new opportunities coming into our life. This is what we should be focused on, my dears. Love you all. Bye bye.